Hey there, Together Learners. Eric back again. Well, we live in great times, and we are information rich, meaning have the ability, because of the internet, to find anything we want to find out about, learn anything we want to learn about. And so in this video, I want to talk about search mastery, because if you are able to quickly find, criticize information, you have one of the best skills that you could ever possibly have in our world today, because there are so much to learn, so much to find out, so much information to sift through. The ability to search, refine your search, maybe understand how that information is getting to you from your search, and be able to understand how that information is getting to you. Is it part of an ad? Is it trying to get you to click to generate revenue, or does it have some bias in it? Knowing all this stuff to be able to quickly find information and criticize it, know a little bit more about how that information gets to you, I believe is one of the most crucial skills that we can possibly have today. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about it, and it's connected to our digital literacy series. All these things we're trying to find out to make us better engaged with the world using technology, better understanding the world and how technology will relate to us. So, search mastery. What is it? We'll get into it in this video coming right up. All right, so I'm calling it search mastery because if you are a master at searching for information, understanding how to search for things, you will save yourself a lot of time, a lot of effort, and help yourself in the long run, because your boss tells you need to find out some information or learn a new skill or figure something out. The first place you're going to go is the internet and search for things. And most of you, that means going to Google and Googling. It's a verb now. When I was a kid, Google was just a company. Now we actually Google things, as in searching for things on the internet. So if you're able to better refine your search, find information more quickly, be able to know where that information is coming from, you will have saved yourself a lot of effort, time, possibly money in the long run. Right? So in this video, we're going to go through a couple of steps. I'm not going to go through these in depth because we have a whole course on this at Together Learning to go through these individually. But to be a search master, to have search mastery, you should understand a bunch of different items, a bunch of different concepts. And the first, you should understand how the internet works in basic terms. What makes it possible? How information is sent back and forth on the internet. If you don't quite understand the fundamentals about how the internet works, the rest of it is built on top of it. Search is built on top of it. And so if you don't quite understand how that works in concert with each other, how we communicate back and forth, you might have a less of an in-depth understanding about what happens when you actually search for things on the internet. And then we'll talk about search in general, how search works, how Google's able to help direct you to information or show you millions of hits based on a simple text search. And that's connected to the browser you use, and the connection to search and your browser is very strong. And how you see the internet and what information you see is contingent upon your browsers. Understand a little bit about your browser. And then there's things like advanced search and power searching. And these are closely linked to Google. They're used in a lot of other search engines as well. We'll talk about that in this video as well. All right, so the internet, it's an amazing, possibly the biggest invention, the biggest impact to society in my lifetime for sure. Sending bits of information all around the world through undersea cables, bouncing off satellites in orbit, going through cables and bouncing off walls with our Wi-Fi signals. It is amazing how many things are connected to the internet and how they all can relate information back and forth to each other using this global network of networks, right? So because we have this big global network of networks, we have all this information on it, we need to surf that information in some way that's easily acceptable to humans. Easily accessible, what I mean, is to humans. And so when we want to search the internet is such a broad thing. And on top of the internet, we have these layers of different bits of information. And on top of the internet, we have something called the World Wide Web, which is basically the system we have set up to show us web pages. And to browse those pages, browse being the key word here, we have browsers. And these are some of the icons for the most popular browsers in existence right now, which Edge, Safari, and Chrome. I don't actually use any of these. I use something called Brave because there's a lot of data collection that's involved with these, and I save myself a lot of time and effort by using a browser that's not connected to one of the big internet or tech companies by chance. Google, Chrome is by Google, Safari by Apple, and Edge by Microsoft. But you can see here that there's already a hierarchy. We have the internet, and then we have the World Wide Web, and we use a browser to then search or to help us interface with information that's on the World Wide Web, which is on the internet. But even another layer of abstraction is we just don't want to search endlessly from going from website to website, clicking on links, surfing the internet, browsing the internet. We want to be able to hone in on the information we need quickly. So on top of your browser is a website, usually, or a system of websites that makes up search. And so search is used through your browser through many times to help you come up with the information that you need. So we have the internet, the World Wide Web, your browser, and through your browser, you can contact a search engine. Right? So we already have a bunch of different layers. And so the search engine itself, when you go to Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing or something like that, a search engine, one important thing to know about it is you are not searching the internet. One common misconception among most people is that when you Google a term, you are searching the entire internet for that term. Let's say you want to find out about some special cloth or fabric or shoe or something. You Google that thing and you get a ton of different responses and you think that that's all there is on the internet. That's not true. What you're doing is searching an index, searching basically a database from which these companies have made about the internet. When you Google something, you're not searching the entirety of the internet. You're searching Google's database of the internet called their index. And their index is informed by these programs, these automated programs called crawlers. When I first had my website, in the late 90s, when I had my website, I would be astonished because it would show me a list of people who visited my website by IP address. And the majority of people visiting my website were not humans at that time. Even now, your website's visited and crawled by these automated programs that go through, they read all of the information, pull it in, stick it in a database, they analyze where the links are going, and then they take those links to those websites and create a list, analyze where those links are going and what information this might be relevant or connected to, download some of the photos and see and analyze the photos to see what's being shown on this particular web page. And then, after it gets crawled, a bunch of information is seeped out of that website and then added to an index. And when you go to search on Google, you're searching the index from which was fed information from these crawlers. And the index is not just, it's many times automated from the crawlers, but Google now is going in and rearranging the index, taking information out of the index. For example, in Europe, there's something called the right to be forgotten, where you can petition Google to take down the index of information about you. Maybe you committed a crime when you were young and now it's finished and you exonerated yourself, or maybe you were falsely accused of something, or maybe somebody slandered you. You can tell Google to take that out of their index. And when somebody Googles that thing about you or Googles your name, that information no longer comes up in the Google search. It's still on the internet, but it's no longer in Google's index. So please, this is one of the most key things to know about search, is that when you search the internet with any search engine, whether it be Google or DuckDuckGo or Bing or anything like that, you're not searching the internet. You're searching their index of the internet. And that's informed by tons of things, mostly by crawlers, these automated programs that go out and analyze and add information to the index automatically. It's also collecting information about you as you use the internet. So it's going to turn that information back to you, mostly in the form of ads or things that the browser learns that you are interested in and learn that you want to know about. So Google is trying more and more often, in particular, to know about you as a person, your habits, your likes, and they're collecting information as you use search to then customize and curate what hits or what results come out when you do a search. So let's say you've done 10 searches on Nike, and then you do a search on tennis shoes, just the word tennis shoes. You're more likely to see Nike tennis shoes in that form because you have basically trained Google that you are interested in Nike, or you have searched previously for Nike, and therefore will inform what you see before it. So what you search on the internet is not the same as what everybody else sees on the internet. It's becoming more fractured, more customized, more curated for each individual. And Google and other search engines are getting better at doing that. So this is a kind of a big loop. So, right, we search for things, we get the data, how we use things gets seeped in and put into the search, and then maybe some ads get put on top of it. And Google knows who's searching for what, who's searching where, and therefore they can tell the crawlers to go look for more of that specific information because it's more popular, and that feeds into the index, and it goes around and around in a kind of a cycle almost. And this is how the information on the internet, and specifically Google, gets evolved over time, gets expanded over time, right? It's not just the internet, it's Google's index of it. Very, very important concept. Right, so if you want to level up, let me just quickly show you my website. So you can go to Google, right? You type in a search thing, you type in anything. But even before you type in anything, even if you're not logged in, Google is taking a bunch of extra steps to know who you are and what you think it might be looking for. For example, it knows your location, it knows you're in Japan, it knows if you're using your phone, it knows what Wi-Fi signals are in your area, so it knows where you are physically in the world, or maybe you're in a shopping mall. So location-based information is going to be shown to you more and more often because it wants to show you information relevant to your physical location. So you're going to get different search results just within Google by going to google.com, which is the US version, or google.co.jp, which will show you more information for Japan, or any of the domain suffixes or top-level domains. If that doesn't make sense to you, go back and watch the video on understanding the internet. And it will curate the results for that based on those top-level domains around you. So you can change what Google shows you just by switching a few things around or loading a different domain, top-level domain of Google. But this is not the only search engine. I use from time to time something called DuckDuckGo, which curates information, but it doesn't collect behavioral information about you. So if I want a more kind of clean search result of the internet, for example, Google, I've searched Google, I use it 10, 20 times a day, so it knows what kind of I want to search for. So sometimes I feel like it's showing me something, and I want to know what other people are finding on the internet. I want to know what a more broad sense of things are shown to people on the internet. Or I want to know, without my biases of training Google's algorithm, I want to know a little bit better about this particular topic, that's going on in the world, for example, even news stories. So I come to DuckDuckGo because it shows you ads, it shows you everything else, but they're based on the words that you search, not any behavioral data that you may be putting into the system. So the purposeful way to search for information is often key in search mastery as well. So don't just trust Google to know that it has all the information. It's still the best search engine in the world, but just know that it has its own biases too, and it has biases built in from your biases from using the system that are being reflected back to you, right? So going back to this guy here, so after you start to learn a little bit more about where you're searching and how information is coming to you, you can start to level up your game in using Google search operators. Now, these are a game changer. A lot of people that aren't familiar with anything about search mastery or Google power searching don't know how to use and fix into certain things on the internet. For example, if you use quotes around a bunch of spaces, it will take that in and search for that in combination. So, right, if you just put in the word search term, it's going to look for websites that have the word search and the word term in it together and show you them. But if you put quotations around search term, it's going to look for those words together on a website. So if you're looking for a specific combination of words, quotations is a great thing. But minus and asterisks are great for these as well. So you're looking for search term, but you don't want anything related to Google. So you go quotation, search term, minus Google. Therefore, it's not going to show you any websites with the word Google on them. You can eliminate a bunch of things using Google. And also the asterisk. So I want everything that has a .com on it. So everything asterisk.com or asterisk.co.jp or asterisk a bull, right? It's a wild card basically. So you want a part of a word that's interchangeable with other words. You can use it and substitute an asterisk or a part of a domain, etc., etc. Very powerful. Now, a couple of things that people don't realize about Google is that it's super powerful if you know how to add different elements to your search. For example, cache. Did you know Google saves old versions of websites that you can search through in their cache? Cache is a word in computer hardware, computer memory, that holds information in memory for a certain amount of time. And Google has old versions of websites that are saved in servers all around the world. So this is very important in research because companies in particular will change their policies or delete information from their websites, and we have no way of knowing that their policy was changed until we're able to come back and put into Google, say, we don't want to see today's version of this website. We want to see a version that's 3 months or older. And we can dig into what was once on the internet a little bit more. Now, this doesn't work all the time because data is obviously lost from time to time. Caches are saved about every website for every bit amount of time. That would be crazy to save versions of every website in the world every day, etc., etc. So, but it's still a very powerful tool. Next one that's listed here is file type. You want to know about horses, but you want to be able to print something out to hand to a couple people. So you need a PDF. So usually you type in horses, you'll get a website. You might try to print out that website, but it doesn't look very good. But if you had you could download a pre-formatted PDF file and print that out. That would be wonderful too. Or maybe there's a file that you're searching for on the internet that you know is a docx, which is a Microsoft Word file, or a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. You can use file type and it will only show you results that are on the internet that are of that file type. Super powerful. Next one listed here is site, right? Sometimes you don't want to search the internet. You only want to search within a certain big website. You want to, you're going to buy a new computer, and you type in some of the parts you might want, some of the things that you might look into a Google search and you get a bunch of Hewlett-Packard ads, or you get a bunch of things from Amazon. You're like, no, but I really, really want to see the things about, maybe I want a Dell or a certain product. So you can type in the website, a particular website, and search for that, only that results that are on that particular site. So I use this a lot when I'm looking through, for example, our university website, and I want to find information that's relevant to something that happened at our university. And so if I typed in something like augmented reality in education, I would find a bunch of things that are all over the world, but I want to see some stuff that our students are doing at our university, especially in our classes. So I would put in site and then our university name, and then repeat my search, and I would only get information that's listed on our university website. So you can start to see how this is super powerful, and you can combine these together to make things so refined and come up with the situation or the information that you need so quickly that doing multiple searches and refining your search and clicking on a few websites would have taken you maybe 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes that's great. You want to explore information that's out in the world, but sometimes you want to come down and find what you're looking for so much quicker. And these Google search operators, which you're going to learn more about in this course, are going to be so helpful for that. All right. I could talk a lot more about this, but this is supposed to be just an introductory video to search mastery. Welcome to learning a little bit more about being able to search for information, pull that out of the internet, and put it into your brain. I'm Eric. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye.